Let's walk through the Dallas offseason so far. Obviously, the 2024 season didn't go the way that any fans were expecting. 7-10. Dak basically rips his hamstring off the bone in week 9 of the season. And Dallas is kind of in a precarious situation heading into this offseason. Typically, it's been them and Philly during the off months where we're like, okay, these two are going to be contending for the East title. Maybe the other slips into the wild card. We'll see. And Washington and the Giants are kind of those bottom feeders in the East. But this has to be a different feel heading into 2025. The Commanders, they're a real team. They're coming off an NFC Championship game loss to the Eagles. Obviously, Eagles go to the Super Bowl. They stomp on the Chiefs. So this division has two great teams right now in Washington and Philadelphia. And Dallas needs to find a way to get back onto that level. And the start of the offseason, kind of the additions, the subtractions to the roster, I don't think went in their way. You're losing DeMarcus Lawrence, Jordan Lewis, Brandon Cooks is gone, Rico Dowdle is on the Panthers now. Zach Martin retires. That's a huge loss for that offensive line, which is still young and upcoming as they try to kind of reboot those guys in front of Dak Prescott to protect him. And this is going to be a huge season for that coming off of that injury. Fast forward to the draft that we had just a couple of weeks ago. I like what Dallas did. First round, Tyler Booker. Maybe not too many people know the offensive lineman when you're getting ready for the draft. A lot of guys like to focus on those quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders was a huge storyline, or the receivers coming in. Obviously, Genty was a huge factor going into the draft. Where was he going to fall? But when you hear that interview with Booker on ESPN or ABC, wherever you were watching the draft, you can just sense that football IQ from him and that no mercy. It felt like a guy that wants to go out and dominate the opponent. That's kind of what you need right now from Dallas, because Washington's only getting better. They're going to figure it out more on that defensive front. And the Eagles, they have the best defensive front in all of football. So I really like what Dallas did at the top end of the draft. Ezaraku out of Boston College, that's going to be huge. Is the ACC obviously was a little weaker than some of those bigger conferences, Big Ten, SEC last season. So hopefully that still translates to the league. The one thing that Dallas avoided in the draft was the wide receivers. So what happens afterwards? They go get George Pickens from the Steelers. Obviously, the Steelers didn't want to bring him back probably. This is his last season in his contract. So you're going to be the number 2 receiver in Dallas, not the number 1 like you were in Pittsburgh. CeeDee Lamb is the top 3 receiver in this league. That can give George more opportunities to get open as well. He's a more down the field threat kind of guy. He has really strong hands. He can go up, he can high point the football, make big plays, big strong plays with his hands to kind of yield off a defender, a corner. And that can open up CeeDee more underneath and more of those dig routes, maybe even skinny posts, slants. That's kind of his bread and butter, that quick passing game. Stuff like that. So George can be very important to do that. So if I have to grade Dallas's offseason so far, I'd probably give it a C+. I'd go high in the draft, A-, B+. I really like some of those picks that they made to address that. That lower grade is coming from the additions and the subtractions for this team. I think the departures were better players than the additions coming in.